Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Cooking with Cole. Today, we are cooking up some new Muna decklist options. Now, I've been playing Muna basically the entirety of set 1. I will continue to play it even if I dabble with others here and there a little bit. And a thing I have noticed is it seems that in most matchups, people are ready for the very specific Muna type deck that I used to play, which is the Spindle Bastion and the Hydra. Very often, the Hydra gets killed and the Bastion gets removed way more often than I would like. So I started cooking up some different ideas. I don't think it's at 100% yet, but I think there are some good things to test out here. So in this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you where the deck is at right now, and we're going to play a game working through how it turns out. And then if I have any thoughts based on that game, we're going to edit the deck on the fly and try again with another game and see how that goes. Now, this is also meant to be kind of more interactive, so in the comments, let me know your thoughts on certain decisions, what you think might have worked better based on the gameplay you're watching, and then just as well let me know what else we should cook up next. So, we're going to dive right into a game with this deck list, and I'll show you real quick. Okay, so the concept is Tasia, no dragon, aka no Hydras. And the philosophy is just playing as fast and as many plants as you can and subverting expectations of your opponent. They think you're going to be playing a permanent of some kind, meadow, spindle, whatever, and they think you're going to be heading towards Hydra, but you're not. Now, there has been a couple versions of this, and there has been a version that included the son of Yggdrasil, but it wasn't really working out during some tournaments I was playing, so I removed it for now. So the reason you see here that I have Capellias in this is specifically because of some uniques that I have. Pavardi being one of them. You take a card from your hand, you put it in reserve. From hand, you gain 3 boosts. From reserve, target character gains anchored. And the Muna Merchant as well. You put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, up to 1 character gains anchored. And that is really good with Capellia, and it benefits this version of just trying to flood the board. The third unique is our Mowgli, which is basically going to help us with card draw, which is really hard for Muna in general. Some other staples of this, I have switched in and out Kodama. I'm still kind of undecided. But if we are aiming to play more plants more often, then we need a Tiny Jin. Very good card in Tasia. I like it in just about every deck you can play with Tasia. The 4 Mountain with the Tasia boost is really sneaky, especially for an opening hand. It's really good, and it is a little bit of ramp. The other thing here is I am trying out Axiom Scrambler. It's a hard sell in Muna, but it is basically the only sabotage that we have access to. So we're going to see how that plays out in this next game that we play with the deck, and then we're going to collect our thoughts and edit from there. Okay, so all of these games are going to be in Arena, of course. That's kind of going to be the best judgment of how it is doing. Oh my god. If you know me, or you're in the altered community, and you've seen it mentioned, if this is a specific type of Akesha deck, oh my
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
First off, though, this opening hand is actually really bad for us. So we're gonna try to do something a little sneaky. But it might not work out. This is not really an opening that we want to do. but we'll see if it's one that works for us. Interesting. It very much seems like it's going to be that Akesha deck. So this deck, as far as we see it currently, this Akesha is going to do whatever is possible to stop us from playing, stop us from advancing until they get to about 8 mana, and then they're just going to hard lock the game as much as possible. This is actually a very hard deck for me to normally play against because it is very easy for them to stop us. We are hopefully going to find a way around that. But right now, we don't have a great start. We have not seen our Mowgli, which allows us to draw more cards. We have not seen a Tiny Jin or anything else. So I'm just trying to move quickly as much as possible for the moment. Not to mention, this player is first. They have a Baku that is rare. They're going to make me discard my other card in hand. Hopefully, though, I can just keep playing this same card that I've played, and they're not going to get a movement out of it either. I do have just enough mana to play this. What do you have that answers this, though? For 1 mana, there's not very much that Akesha would have. A very sneaky jelly, which this deck wouldn't have. A beauty sleep. Sleeping their own Baku is very, very interesting decision. My board is going to clear right here, basically, but a 2/2/2 Baku is not that scary to me. But once again, their deck is mainly built on just stalling, and now I have actually a pretty good setup for what I want to do. As I was mentioning in the intro, this Tiny Jin with the 4 Mountain after the Tasia boost is pretty sneaky. Not to mention, if they off you go it or anything like that, I still get the benefit, so I'm getting what I want out of it. Okay, the Hathor. Hathor's a pretty strong choice there. Let's see, 3, they can put something else to sleep. Which, if they put anything to sleep, I would assume it would be the Tiny Jin. I'm just going to go here. One way or another, that Dracana is going to gain a boost the longer it is around. I would assume they put this. Yes. Which, once again, I am actually fine with. This Baku's going to go bye-bye. These two are going to stay around for me, and we hope we pull something to continue our momentum here. That is very unfortunate, but the good part of it all is we do have these two already out, and we have a spindle here. It's not completely lost, but we'll see. Okay, so here's where we have a dilemma. We either let them move and keep the cocoon, or we get rid of this and we continue our momentum. The problem is, you might have saw we already manaed 1 cocoon because we pulled 2. If a Katagir comes out next turn, we want to get rid of it. So I think, saying it out loud, I'm just going to pass. The downside to that is they might know what's in my hand, or they might think it's a Hydra, which is that's not bad for me. They can still off you go something, but they'll do an alchemist instead, which is fine. They'll double move here. I'm not too upset about, but I'll also move, and then my tiny Jin will satisfy. And we'll see what they play next. Since I have to go first, we hope for... Okay, let's do some thinking. So this is 6, 7 mana here. This and this is 6 with 1. I think we don't mana. Or we mana the sleep. But that wouldn't allow us to play all 3. So we're not going to mana. We're going to play the Dracana first. And then we're going to see what they play. Hopefully it is that Catagear, and they're hoping to off you go or something for free, but I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay. No Catagear. That somewhat complicates things, but we're actually going to have a sneaky sleep available. Which I'm not sure how beneficial will be to us in the long run. Because if they just want to, I mean, they can still after you, basically. Okay, but they go for the off you go to get rid of the Dracana. They could off you go again on Yongsu. Send to reserve target character with hand cost 3 or less. This is going to sabotage either way. So I'm going to put it to sleep. We really just need to close this game out. Okay, cool. 1 mana, they can play this. Okay, cool. We still get a move. We will still have a plant on the board. They are going to sabotage probably Yongsu. Yes, yes, yes. Most obvious choice. It's very unlikely that I will pay the cost for that from reserve, the beauty sleep. I did not mana there, so we are 2 mana down now, which is actually totally fine because we're expecting a certain something here. And we're about to see if we're going to get it or not. Not to mention we have another option to play another card if they do something like just play this Alchemist. But they play... Oh, okay. They play a unique Alice that sabotages. And I am not moving currently here. They're moving, which means they won't sabotage, which is fine. So the really hard thing now that we may have just locked ourselves into is they can double move here and then small step. If this... Okay. It's not a small step, but maybe that's what they're drawing. I cannot cocoon anything, so pretty much guaranteed they're going to double advance. We may have misjudged this deck in the fact that it's not a like category control stall deck, but is more just a get to small step deck. Um, we're gonna see what happens here. Okay, they end their afternoon. That tells me it could be very likely they have the small step. The amount of time they took to think maybe makes me think they don't, but you never know. Some people just kind of play a little slower. They have a pretty big reserve they got to get rid of. So we have some really unfortunate decisions here. I think we don't give them another card just in case. If they have the small step, they already have it. It's not going to matter anyways, stats wise. I think I am in trouble from a stats standpoint currently, though. So we'll see what happens. If they sabotage that Mowgli, I will get access to another card. They have only one off you go. Ooh, getting hit with a Baku right now would not be amazing. They could still after you too, which is annoying. Hmm. When you play a spell, resupply. That's wild. And you may discard a card from your reserve. If you do, up to one target character gains fleeting. The thing about this, though, is they do not boost. Problem I have, though, is they have enough stats to win very easily, depending on what this card is. So, fingers crossed, we'll see what card it is. I mean, technically, they actually have enough right here, because they play this, they sleep my Kodama, it's GG. So, this did not go super great. But that's the point of this video, right? The other thing is I don't think it went in a manner that taught me anything. But on the chopping block could be the Axiom Scrambler. I just don't know if it is that great for Muna. If it was a 3-3, yeah, see here, they're going to put the Kodama to sleep. Or not. Oh, well, that wins anyways. They had to ensure the win. Give them a GG. So I'm not certain. I mean, I guess we could take a look. We can take a look at their account and see if they usually play. Let's see. They're a pretty high ranked player too. Game replay. So they did do a Kesha. So we basically just choose this player. We look at their deck real quick. So definitely a small step situation. I do not see the caddy gear though. So what we could have learned from that game is maybe the fact that I am so annoyed and so scared of Katagiri that I played like they had it for too long. Although this deck isn't really that much different. They had a Sakabaru, they have Isatok, they have, Off You Go, Banishing Gate, Sleep, all of that, Tooth Fairy, to basically stop you from playing until they get to small step. So you let me know if there was a way I could have done that differently. I guess where we're actually going to pivot this video is we're going to play a version of the Hydra deck that I've been trying lately. So let's do that now and see how the games go differently. Okay, here we are in a new matchup. We're going to play Tasia Q4, which is a little more updated version of the Hydra deck. It's still pretty classic though. Against Navenka, I guess we're about to see how well it does. Not a great opening here, if I'm honest. And I am first player. So we can get rid of one of these. Honestly, probably something like this. And then we play the Muna Druid first. Sets us up for re-anchoring the Jokana and hopefully keeping it around. It does nuke all of our mana right off the bat, but it is a pretty strong card. And it gets classic. There goes our setup. We do get a move though. So this seems like it's going to be a pretty classic Navenka deck where they're going to give me fleeting a lot, maybe even Twinkle Twinkle here and there, and probably Martingale, so that they can roll better to get them out of situations. So I put in mana the Nurture, which might not have been a good decision based on the mana that we have. I was mainly just thinking about how if Tiny Jin gets fleeting or anything like that, it doesn't really matter. It's going to give me the mana that I want. Playing against Navenka, Cloth Cocoon can be really good, especially for Martingales, or if they do play the permanent, the Ouroboros. But I think I was just more worried about getting the ramp. Nurture, I guess, probably actually isn't that good to keep in this moment right now anyways. They're probably not going to have anything to beat me out here. Okay, cool. Unless, I was going to say, unless they play another Hathor and they Navenka roll on it, which in the current setup, might have them roll a 1, which they didn't, but sometimes you got to gamble against the gamblers. Okay, yeah, they pick back up that acapella training. Okay. We're gonna have 6 mana, so I am going to get rid of the cloth cocoon. We haven't mana'd any others, so that's pretty good. We're basically going to get the Dracana out, probably over here, because they have less strength on the water subregion. And then we're going to get the Spindle out, which will help protect our plants, but also boosts up that Dracana. Okay, classic. I am still in danger of that permanent being hit with a cloth cocoon, but it would also take basically their whole turn. I don't think there's, well, Martingale could give them a move on the companion side, but that kind of disrupts their play flow. So they'd have to take a hit to get rid of it for a turn at least. Okay. Seems about right. This one here is a hard decision. If I go up to 7 and I play. Yeah, no. We have to get rid of the meadow, basically, which is fine. I also realized I didn't fully show you this deck list, but we're taking it as we go. It's pretty classic, ramp into Hydra, and then I also have um, the Spindle and the Meadow. It could be seen as overkill having both the Meadow and Tiny Gins, but I just love me some Tiny Gin. And as of right now, it's worked really well for us. We're gonna see an Esmeralda and then a Trickster. Very, very interesting Navenka build we're seeing so far. Let's see, what does this do? Oh, what? When you roll one or more dice, you may return a card from your reserve to your hand. It's a very, very good Navenka unique, honestly. I would pick back up the Ink Dancer. That's just me, though. Ink Caster. Sorry, my bad. They are getting away with not having any dice support, though. And I guess they just rolled again, so they picked both back up, so good play for them. They do block me and get to move once, but I also move once, and my Hydra gets bigger. Basically, if we're tied and I have Hydra out, I'm sitting pretty. This is 7. Although this is not the most ideal of hands currently. All right, we're just going to go straight into just getting rid of everything that they do. They're going to play the Esmeralda. They can still play the Cloth Dancer. But my only choices are when I go to reserve. Pretty sure I want to get rid of the Ink Caster, especially because it's brand new, and we're going to stop them from picking back up that unique as much as we can. They end their afternoon. I think they really want to be able to pick that back up. I didn't even think that it is technically possible. Oh my god. I these hands. These hands, man. Y'all seeing this? Another beauty sleep cloth cocoon hand. Sheesh. It's technically possible that this Navanka runs small step, which would be very unfortunate for me. Um, I'm just gonna put this to sleep here, make them think I don't have another option, and hopefully they play this, and then I will cocoon it. Yes. I am so sorry to this person I'm playing, but it is literally the only options that were given to me. uh, um, We just gotta do it. Like, what else am I supposed to do? It is very unlikely they play small step, but you never know what you're gonna run into, so I might as well do it. I'll have it in the reserve if I need it again, and we hope that we draw something better this next turn. Which is not terrible, but not quite what I was looking for. We don't have two plants for the Yongsu to boost up, but we do have a sneaky nurture that we can use more than once. So okay, so they have basically given up, which is fine with me. I am so sorry that that's all I drew. That game went a lot better. So let's take a look at the deck list and I'll show you kind of the Hydra version that I go for generally. This is a new account that I save for specifically playing decks I've already tested. So maybe we'll get it to Elite during this video specifically. Okay, so this is what I am calling Tasia Q4. It is the Hydra deck that I have built based on playing the last couple months. So it's pretty traditional. It has 2 meadows and 3 spindles. It has nurture, which I actually don't usually play, but I almost always run beauty sleep and cloth cocoon. You just saw how that won us a game. A rather unfortunate way to win, but a win is a win, I guess, in some regards. And we have Capellias still because of this Esmeralda. Well, what? Oh, no, not that. Not the Esmeralda, the Muna Merchant. If you put a card from your hand in reserve, you will give another character anchored. Really good combo with Copelia when I get it to go off. The Mowgli, once again, just gives us card draw, which helps out a lot with Muna. And the Esmeralda is a really good anchor card where whenever it gains 1 or more boosts, I get to anchor something. It also has the classic resupply from hand. That is also why I have Nurture in here for multiple chances to proc this Esmeralda. So that game went pretty well. What I would say I would maybe change here is if I was really worried about my Hydras getting nuked, I would maybe drop 1 Hydra down, 1 Yongsu down, and put in maybe 2 Son of Yggdrasil or something like that as an alternative, or even something like, since we'll free up a rare, maybe drop the spindle down to 2/2 on the permanents, and then put in 2 rare spindle harvesters instead of common, or, rare Jacanas or something like that. Just boost up the low cost plants. But so far this deck is pretty decent if it gets, going correctly. Let's try one more game. Actually, you know what? Let's edit the other deck. Let's remove the Axiom Scramblers and see how a game goes after that. Okay, this is where we have to think a little bit. Is if we remove the Axiom Scramblers, that does free up 2 rare slots. And let's just consider some rares we have here. I have a time or two switched things around on this one. I'm just not sure what else I want in here. I have tested it with Kyron, which I enjoy. Are we using the... Ooh. You know what? Let's try this. Since the whole point of this deck is no dragon, kind of ramping, let's remove the Parvati because I think the Esmeralda is easier to trigger. And then let's add in 2 Chirons for another chance to trigger the Esmeralda. So I have 2 of the same set here somewhere. There we go, so that they're not split. Okay, so basically all we did is removed Axiom Scrambler. We switched to the Esmeralda that you just saw, and we added Chiron. So let's try a game with that. Okay, so Tasia, no dragon. Here we go. What are we up against? This person looking at my game history and deciding what to play. Or maybe they didn't realize. There we go. Ooh, a Rin. Okay. I actually don't really know what to expect in this matchup. Um, Very uncommon. Could be a festival. So let's see. We want the Mowgli for sure. We want to get a Muna Druid out. I think that's the move. Let's try it. They are first, so we do get a little bit of an answer depending on what they do. Interesting. So, for 2 or 1, the best they can do is a Shroom. Or that caregiver that they have. They could play 2 caregivers. It's very unlikely that they'll be able to get a double move. So we're going to get the Druid banked here. Once again, Muna doesn't really have Sabotage, so shouldn't be something I have to worry about too much. Resupply, so maybe we're seeing a classic Rin here instead of Rinstable. Could always be both though. They're gonna anchor the merchant. Very interesting. Is that to hope to get a double win for the Rin trigger? Interesting. And then they have the Mowgli for anchor. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I am not mad at all about being up against this. At least it'll be interesting, no matter what. So we don't have the best mana currently. But this aloe vera is actually pretty decent. And we'll just get the resupply going. And having these, we're just gonna keep it flowing. So that's my... Oh, okay. I see, I see. Going for a spindle, which is totally fine with me. They could play the Mowgli and just move here. It would get the Rin trigger. Or they could just anchor their merchant again. You know, very interesting is they could have also played it here. Wouldn't have stopped me though, so pretty good choice. But oh, another Mowgli. Great googly moogly. Okay, okay. No Capellias yet, but now we're gonna start playing with the Mowgli. I think we actually get rid of the. Well, we're gonna have 5. We're gonna play the Mowgli. Or maybe not. Maybe we're gonna re-anchor the Aloe actually. So we are going to. Oh, shoot. This is very unfortunate. There is a better setup that existed for us um, that I didn't really get working. But I think this will be fine based on the setup we have. So we will play the Kodama, which will be put to sleep. But then we will re-anchor the Aloe. And now we're getting a really good build up here. We only get 1 cycle of our Mowgli, but we've been drawing pretty decently so far, so it's not too upsetting. Once again, pretty good, pretty good. We can get rid of one of those. Ooh, if I would have counted my mana, I might have kept that. Because 2 here, so we draw a card. 3 here, so that we. I guess we don't really care about resupplying again too much. Ooh, the mana reaping. Scary. Yeah, we're definitely going to play Mowgli. And then see what they decide to do about that. Re-anchor the Yellow. And then what? If I don't care about resupplying, I could use. Just kidding. There's no way I use the support. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. Was wondering for a second if it was um next character gains a boost. But yeah, I think it's pretty obvious what I'm gonna do from here. It's just what are they gonna do? Chances are I'm playing what's in my reserve. And I should be pretty good on Mountain over there. Ooh, we love to see it. Tiny Jin resupply. We are going to have to get rid of the Beauty Sleep, which A-okay. The great googly moogly. All right. Just gonna keep Re-anchoring our aloes, huh? Yeah, there's not anything I should anchor other than the aloe. Oh, I forgot the Kodama's gonna go there too. I'm actually gonna get rid of one of the gins. Costs more from reserve. I have one in my hand now. I think the only reason I want to get rid of the spindle is for the boost that it's giving. Um, so this is 5, 7. We'll keep the cloth cocoon as an option. See if getting rid of Yangsu is a good idea. Oh, wait. The double spindle. That's going to cost so much. So it would cost all my mana. But ooh, this is actually getting kind of dangerous for me. I feel like based off of the boosts and how long that... Oh, they're going to hit me with the mana reaping, huh? What are you going to get rid of? They got rid of my other aloe. I might be able to get a double move out right here with the ever so sneaky Tiny Jin. Problem is their board state is a lot better going into this next round than mine. That aloe vera is going to be very big. What do we got here? Up to one target plant gains 2 boosts. Yeah, that's going to be a big aloe. So I just can't play this from hand this turn, so I can get rid of one of these spindles before making a decision. So now it'll only cost 5 to get rid of that aloe, which doesn't leave me a great option to do anything after. Oh, no way. No way. Yo. That might make it so I lose. I think there's a chance that we go to arena, right? They can't play any of these, which is good. So they did make it. Oh no. Because I'm stuck on nature. Shit. I have only nature that I have. I did not. That's called an error, folks. I think it was literally the only play I had, though. Playing them on this side, it wouldn't have even mattered. So I just did not have the gas to take it home. So this video is all about experimenting and how that went. And it was more about the play of the deck than the result. So now, based on what you've seen, what do you think? Let's jump into some final thoughts. Okay, so I am still working on a more consistent, I would say, version of the no Hydra Muna deck. I think it's still good. It's still fun, and I have placed top 16 ish in tournaments with it. But I was running into the issue in tournaments a lot specifically, where if I was running the Hydra deck, people were very prepared for it. So this might be a case of maybe the deck that I play in tournaments is different than the arena climbing deck. But it was all about testing, seeing how things interact, seeing what other options there are out there from the previous Muna video I made. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what kind of cards you think I should test out and what deck I should do next, whatever faction it is besides Ordis.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.